Hi, everyone. On this episode of the Master Instructor Roundtable, myself, Wendy Batts, and friend and colleague, Dr. Marty Miller, have a very special guest joining us. Her name is Cynthia Flores. She's been with NASM for over 8.5 years, and she is our creative director. And she goes over all kinds of information about building a legacy.
Yeah, it's amazing. So not only do you hear about what NASM has done to become NASM over the last 35 years, but she's going to use those same very insights to help you build your brand within the NASM family. So this will be an episode you don't want to miss. So be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and of course, give us a 5-star review. Can't wait to see you on this episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Master Instructor Roundtable. I am Wendy Batts, here with my friend and co-host, as always, Dr. Marty Miller. How are you doing, Marty?
Great, Wendy. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Guys, today I'm super excited because we have one of our own from NASM. Her name is Cynthia Flores. She is our creative director from NASM. She is going to be joining us, but before we bring her on, I want to launch a video that's kind of the evolution of NASM. And then once that's done, we'll bring Cynthia in and we'll ask her some questions about all of NASM and the brand and everything. Marty, it's going to be great.
Can't wait. Love it.
It's super fun, right? All right, let's bring Cynthia in, who was, I know she was behind the scenes of making that video happen. Hey, lady.
Hi, Marty. Hello. Thank you.
Well, we love that video. So why don't we just start there a little bit and tell us, kind of the purpose of it. And I saw a lot of cool things that gave me some deja vu and some like, oh, I remember those and that, but I'd love to get your perspective on it.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's just so much joy to be able to do this incredible work for NASM. I've been at NASM for 8.5 years or so. And basically what you saw is the evolution of what this creative looked like, right? So we've evolved from over 35 years ago and to when I started 8.5 years ago to what we are today, to where we are today. And so the video shows the evolution of that legacy, just really honoring who we are, honoring our legacy, honoring our history, but also showing how much fun we are and how much fun we get to have with our own community. You guys probably don't know this, but a lot of the people that you actually see in our campaigns come from our own NASM community. They're people who are certified with us and coaches who are certified with us, and We do a lot of casting calls where we get to see them, we get to talk with them, and a lot of them actually have started careers modeling and acting because they started with us at NASM. So that's a little bit of background insight there for you guys. But yeah, it really is about the evolution of what we do here at NASM.
Well, and Cynthia, I've seen you in action because obviously I've been invited to some of these marketing shoots, and it is amazing what you have to do. I mean, guys, when she says she's being very humble, but I mean, from the dress, the colors, what the hair's doing. And I mean, now again, the exercises, that would be more of our master instructors that are there behind the scenes to ensure, really good form and alignment. But yes, it's more than just what you see. It's really just, we spend a lot of hours making something that's just that short. So less than 3 minutes to make that happen. And Cynthia is the one behind most of that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in the first question here for you. But from your perspective, how did the brand's identity first take shape? And what were some of the defining moments that's helped NASM become what it is today?
That's a great question. I will say, one of the first things that I learned about NASM when I started was to truly learn how revolutionary NASM is in the true essence of the word. The term, personal trainer, really started over 35 years ago with some of the work our founders did at NASM. And we've been really revolutionary since then, and like bringing cohesive learning opportunities and education opportunities for our trainers to become who they are, and everything that we do, just truly standing behind being science-backed. That is just so important, and is so ingrained in the work that we do, and that's part of the love that I feel so passionate about, and is a great way for me also to understand not just the passion, but how much we can actually believe behind the work that we do. And to be revolutionary for over 35 years, it's really something special. And to still stand behind the work and saying that we are science-backed in every essence of the word. And I know this because I have had the incredible opportunity to work with those who design our programs and those who develop our products. So I know that when we say science, we truly mean it. And so to not just stay on trend, but to actually walk the walk and also define where the industry is going is incredible, and it's incredible to see. And so we see all these defining moments throughout the history of NASM, because we also stay true to who we are, and being part of that conversation where we have proven science in every essence of the word. It's just really incredible.
Marty, you're on mute.
My apologies. So Cynthia, I'm going to build off that if I can. So NASM has evolved alongside these changes in science, technology, and training trends. So how does the brand balance staying true to its core values with the science, but also adapting to the industry shifts?
Yeah, so we do a lot of listening, right? And a lot of the work that I do, but that I also see our product development team do, and in the marketing team, is that we truly listen to our community. We have different opportunities for our community to not just fill out surveys, but for us to be able to listen face to face in terms of what our community is wanting to learn, where are they're seeing trends happening. So in that listening with our community, that's something that happens every day, and so we take that and start thinking about what could be next. How can we serve our community best, right? And so it is science, the science of the actual products and the actual programs that we develop, but it's also the science of listening, if you think about it. So we truly take to heart what our community is telling us every day.
I love it. So if you're looking back, because I mean, I know you've been with the company, as you said, 8.5 years. This NASM brand of what we know it today, has been going on for 35 years. Marty and I have been pretty much since the inception of it as well, which sounds crazy. But looking back, what do you think has made NASM's messaging and the visual identity stand out so much in such a crowded fitness landscape, if you will?
Yeah, well, there's so many ways to go about this, but we're just talking about listening and what that really is. In my work, I get the opportunity to speak with many coaches and trainers, and as I mentioned, so we do casting calls and we bring in true trainers and coaches, and they're the ones who are doing all the exercises and demonstrating and talking with us. So within that work, for example, I'm going to speak about my personal experience. I get to interview them. I get to interview them on and off camera, right? So I'm constantly listening to what their needs are, at any pain points that they may have. And I try to advocate for that. I try to advocate for that in our messaging. And are we truly speaking? Are we truly speaking to our community? Are we truly solving problems? And how can we do that in an effective way? And in an authentic way? I think that's what's most important to me. Advocating for our community, not for the sake of, hey, this is going to be a great marketing campaign, but it's just like truly aligning yourself with the wants and needs of our trainers and our coaches. And in that listening, you are listening truly to their heart and their minds, and they're the ones who are out there every day at the gyms or with clients, and they really have the best knowledge, and we're so privileged to be able to have the opportunity to listen and to have the opportunity to be able to take these learnings and actually make something happen for them. And so that is like, in essence, like truly important part of like the work that I do, for example. But I know that I'm speaking about my own experience, but I know that this is true with many of us here at NASM. We truly care about what our trainers and coaches are needing and wanting to learn. And so we really do take it to heart to be able to provide that for them.
Yeah, no, building into that. No, Cynthia, so we know, and you've been here with us for 8.5 years, how fast the fitness world moves with social media trends, digital learning, new consumer expectations. How does NASM stay relevant and connect with today's generation of trainers and fitness enthusiasts? Yeah,
that's such a great question, Marty. There's so many layers to this. What we see too is that our community of trainers and coaches is getting younger and younger. Which is really great to see. I love to see that people are seeing that being a personal trainer or a coach, nutrition coach, wellness coach, and so on, it's another way of being able to create a living for themselves, right? And oftentimes transforming their lives, right, for the better, not just for themselves, but also for the community around them. And so for us to understand this is really important, right? Because it's not about just becoming a trainer or just becoming a coach. It's like really a lifestyle. It is a way of living for many, right? And so to have that compromise, I think, is very important. And so we understand, for example, for our younger audiences who are coming to us now, maybe, I'm just going to say it, maybe college is not as important as it used to be, or maybe it is important, but they also want to do something else that brings them joy. And fitness is a huge part of that. And so we don't see fitness as how we used to see it, of like, pumping iron and like looking a certain way. We understand now, and I think our society understands now, the importance of fitness and wellness in your everyday life. Not because you want to look a certain way, because you want to be the best version of yourself. And being, for us, is very important to be in tune with that. It's part of that listening. But it's also like our community is telling us, right, we're really looking at NASM to help transform our lives. And so within that, that's how we stay also ahead of trends and just really learning what our community is wanting from us.
So, Cynthia, it's interesting because as a creative director, I mean, that's your title, and you're kind of telling us all about what you do and how you make this happen, especially when you're looking at the branding side. So how do you and your team ensure that NASM's look, feel, and the message stays consistent across all platforms, but then also keeping it fresh and modern? I mean, it seems like there's always little tweaks and changes. How do you guys know when it's time?
It's quite a bit of work. It takes a lot of, very passionate, talented group of people every day, looking at this every day. When do we know it's time? So I'll tell you a little bit about our brand refresh, and it speaks to the video that you saw at the beginning. When I started, we had a team of one designer, and that was it. And so when I came in, I was like, okay, we need to do something about this, right? And so I was able to, I feel privileged to be able to have done this with NASM and to continue doing this. But being able to grow the team to where we now have support of teams in different parts of the nation here in the United States and all across the world. And how do we find that cohesiveness, and how do we find that it's time to change, right? And so when I started, I knew that at some point we needed to refresh our brand, right? And a huge part of that process was started with the brand strategy. There's no visual strategy without a brand strategy. So that's really a huge part of the work that we do and that I get to do with other very talented people here at NASM. And we identified that it was also time for us to modernize our look and feel. It was feeling, very heavy, and we wanted to infuse more energy and more joy in not only in the work that we do, but in our imagery and our color choices. And we wanted to be more inclusive and reflective of what our community is, right? And we're a very diverse community of trainers and coaches, and we wanted to make sure that we're reflecting that every day. So that signaled us, right, that we needed to start making changes. And so we started bringing in great partners. It's an agency in London. I'll give them a shout out. Shoot them who helped us do the brand refresh. There weren't others like Greg Podinka who helped us with the brand strategy. We have other partners, like I'll give them a shout out, as well as Social Deviant, who helped us also look at our brand strategy work. And what we get to do is pairing that brand strategy with what our visual strategy is. And understanding trends, understanding what our community is looking for and wanting. Also, a big part of the work that I do is like making sure that we are accurately representing our community, whether that's tone, whether that's voice, or whether we're choosing images. So just staying relevant is very important, but more important for me is like that accurate representation of our community and what our community is looking for in NASM.
Excellent. So before I jump to the next question, I want everyone to know that this episode of the Master Instructor Roundtable is brought to you by NASM One, the membership for trainers and coaches. Members enjoy unlimited access to hundreds of career resources. Get the Edge apps to schedule and program clients. Enjoy half off all certifications and specializations, access to free CEUs, and more. All this just for $35 a month. Go to nasm.org/membership to learn more about NASM One. So Cynthia, you hinted on this, so maybe you can just build off this a little bit. What role does community feedback play, both from students and certified professionals, in shaping that creative strategy? And you touched on how important it is, but also where can people maybe provide feedback?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely, there's different opportunities. We have surveys that go out all the time, and we send them out via email. We also do calls for people to be able to participate in panels where all we do is listen, and you get to ask questions as part of our community, or we may have questions for you, and we're truly listening. We're truly listening to not only understand you better as a community, but like, how can we serve you better? That's a huge part of the work that we do, and why I just feel so proud to be part of the NASM family. So I will definitely encourage you, if you see these emails asking you to fill out surveys for us or to be part of any focus panel or listening panel, please fill them out. We're actually listening, and we're actually listening to you. We take them to heart, and they help shape a lot of the communications that you see out there. It helps shape what are the products that we're coming up with, and it's really all about how to serve you better.
Awesome. So Cynthia, as I usually do, I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit and think about the title of this podcast, which is Building a Legacy. So with our trainers, especially if you're new to the industry and you're really trying to get out there and build your own business and build your own legacy. So keeping that in mind, that's kind of where this next question's going, is for these trainers that are entering the field. What advice would you give them about building their own personal brand that aligns with their values while standing out in the market?
That is so great. It's very challenging, right? Because there's so many people trying to make noise out there, right? And we see this in social media all the time. I would say it's very, very important for you to think about the why you started your career. Why did you want to get certified? Why do you want to get started in this career? A lot of what I hear is that people feel very passionate about helping others. And this passion comes from transformation that they have gone themselves in their own lives. Speak about that. Be vulnerable. Speak about your own transformation. Speak about why fitness is relevant to you. The more authentic you can be to your own experiences, your opinion is very important out there. Your voice is important, but that authentic voice, right? And so don't look at maybe what influencers are doing here. There, and all respect to them as well. But just really search deep inside and speak from the heart. Speak about why you care, and don't be afraid to share that with the world. We need to hear it. There's someone who you're going to be inspiring because of a story that you're telling and you're sharing, and that's when you're going to start making a difference. I will also encourage you to specialize in something. Some of the more successful trainers and coaches that I know have specialties. And so I'll speak about our friend Rick Ritchie, for example. I know that one of the things that he shared when he started is his career in corrective exercise, for example, and so how that made a difference for him. Also Tony Ambler, right? I know that CES was also one of the specialties that changed his life as a trainer and coach. And I know that for you, Marty and Wendy, as well, we can speak to this more, but bringing in that additional knowledge and the specialty, whether you want to specialize in senior fitness or you want to specialize in nutrition, or maybe it's fitness for youth, for example, or women. All of that will help craft your story and your messaging and the reasons why you care. So the more you can share that, the more authentic you are, and the more you're going to be able to touch people's hearts with those true stories.
That's great advice. And I think my question here, you probably will tie it together, but how can personal trainers take inspiration from NASM's brand approach, authenticity, consistency, and education, and apply it to their own business or online presence?
How can I take inspiration? Okay, let me think about this. The way that we speak in a lot of in our communications, we try to be very conversational, not because that's the right thing to do and that's what we have to do, But because we want to, as I mentioned earlier, we want to accurately represent our community, right? And so if we're listening to you, we want to make sure that that voice is speaking back to you, right? And so if you're being authentic and we're being authentic, those it kind of facilitates that that authentic voice. And I don't know if I'm probably speaking in circles right now, so I'm like trying to kind of like make sense of how this work. But it's a circle of communication that really goes around in like that listening and all speaking. We try to be as conversational as possible. Sometimes we get too caught up in the science, right? And the reality is that we need to speak to people with beginner's mindset. Why do we do that? Because maybe you're going to be speaking to someone who's just starting their fitness journey. They have no idea about all the science and the mechanics and everything that goes behind what it truly makes a personal trainer, right? And so for the everyday person, you need to speak their language in a way that is inviting them, and fitness is not feeling threatening to them, right? So that's some of the work that we do. We could be speaking about science, and we do. We speak about science all the time, but we do that gradually as well, right? And because we get a lot of people who maybe they didn't even know that personal training could be a career, right? For example, they didn't know there could be nutrition coaches, right? And so if I'm speaking too much into the science about that and what that means, at the very beginning, they may feel like this is not for them, right? And so we want to be able to speak with people in a way that makes sense where they are in this stage in their lives. So that's a lot of the beauty of the work that we do in just that beginner's mindset. And it requires a lot of empathy, I think, too, and like that kind of conversation. And then we can talk about science and all the amazing things that make it amazing.
So, I think when you say that, it's interesting because I know for myself, like I got lucky, and I tell everyone that, like I was successful in building my business and staying within this industry because I hooked up with a mentor that took me under his wing and ended up creating the NASM OPT model. So I had this model and the ability to use it from the start and see how it does work. And so again, I was 100% bought into the science because I saw everything behind it. So when I had to quote build my business, it was almost kind of like I piggybacked off of somebody that kind of helped me grow and understand how to be a part of the fitness community. Other people, as you know, Cynthia, they don't have that luxury. Marty and I, like I said, we got lucky. And Marty, I'm not saying that, I mean, maybe you didn't get lucky, but I think we got lucky too, because we were some of the first master instructors out there. So if I take a step back and I ask this, I mean this genuinely, because I don't know how to answer this question. And people ask me this often, but what are the common mistakes that you see when people are trying to establish their own brand identity? Because I know there's social media out there. They're pulling things from other people. But in your world, if somebody comes and says, help me, what are some of the mistakes they're making?
Well, I think that would be one of like trying to pull from what like other people are doing. And there is something to that of like getting the inspiration from other places and other people. But your success is really going to be in building your own authentic voice, right? And what makes you you? What's your why and why you're passionate about what you want to do? And that moment that you decide, yes, I'm going to become a personal trainer, or I'm going to become a nutrition coach, that magic moment, always remember that throughout your entire career, and always go back to that. Why am I doing this? Why am I speaking to this? Why am I going to choose to work at X, Y, and Z place, right? And you just go back to your why to stay true. That's your true north, and what's going to keep you. I know we're using the word authenticity throughout all of this, but it's really so important, especially on this age of like where there's so much out there in our social media and just in general, there's so much. So there's no other person like you, right? And there's no other person with your own unique experiences. So speak to that. And I would say like maybe some of the common mistakes, we do that sometimes here at NASM, so I'll speak to that. To give you an example, we may have a 30-second commercial spot, right? And in that commercial, we want to pack in 35 years of learning, of 35 years of legacy. Like, how do we do that, right? We can't pack so much information because it's going to be over people's, lives. And it's okay. I mean, you're looking at a commercial, you may or may not care, right? I mean, we are confronted with this every single day from all kinds of brands, right? And so sometimes less is more. Actually, oftentimes less is more, right? And so say less, but be more impactful, more intentional in your language, and why are you saying what you're saying, why you're doing what you're doing. And even if you know so much more, right? Don't feel like you have to say it all at once, right? Because we're all bombarded with messages all day long. I mean, the moment we wake up until we go to sleep, right? And so we have so much to process. And if there's someone who comes in and is just speaking like too much to us, right, we're not gonna really pay attention. It's a lot of work, right? And so you kind of have to train yourself to say less, but to be more intentional, and always remembering your why, as I was mentioning earlier.
I think Marty and I, we probably did this when we were teaching. It's like, look how smart I am. And we would say way too much, and people would be like, they're looking at us like they could see through our soul. And then I think it was one of those things where I'm like, okay. And then you realize that if you simplify the work, I think if you simplify your brand and you simplify what you stand for, like to your point, it's so much easier to understand, because you said it before with all the noise. If you just have a lot of noise, but you don't have your purpose, I think that's what I also see as a mistake. Marty, I don't know if you have noticed other mistakes that you've seen either personally or with other trainers.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a ton of information. So just hook somebody. People are now Instagrammable in their knowledge levels of what they want to digest. So if you can't say it in 30 seconds under, you probably don't know the material well enough. It doesn't mean you're getting everything in 30 seconds, but if I can't tell you what I'm trying to come across in 30 seconds, I haven't practiced it enough or mastered it enough. Doesn't mean you're not going to come back for another hour of it. But that 30 seconds now, that's about the time limit you get, if that, to hook somebody.
Yeah.
So in your professional opinion, what does it mean today for a fitness professional to be on brand? How can trainers maintain their authentic self while adapting to new platforms or audiences?
It's so important. And as we've been talking throughout this during this episode, is the maintaining and finding and maintaining that authentic voice, right? And what does our process look like? And so I know that we're eager to go into all the social media channels and get ourselves out there, right? And to give you an example of the work that we do here at the NASM, before we do any kind of campaign, there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes, right? And sometimes you have to step back and truly think about who you are, what you want to communicate, what are you passionate about. So that grounding work is so important. Visuals, videos, podcasts, blogs are all important, right? But there has to be a continuum of communication and language that starts before you actually release something. So I will encourage you to sit back, write down exactly what your why is, your purpose. Why do you get in the industry in the first place? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to help people? Why is it important to you? And keep that always present in all the work that you do. every single thing that you do, whether you are on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, should answer to that. And that's going to keep you authentic. That's going to keep you different. There's no one like you. The world needs you. People need you. And one of the things that I always say is that we may not be able to change the world, but we may be able to change one person or two and influence them in a positive way. And so think about that one person in the room who you're speaking to. Don't think about, I do this exercise and I know that we have, hundreds of thousands of people that are part of the NASM community here in the United States and even more around the world. But I always think about the one person who's listening to us, not the 100 to 100,000 or 500,000 people who are looking at us. It's really you're speaking about who is that person you want to help, and speak to them, have a conversation with them about how you can make a difference in their lives. And then answer like, why is that important to me? Why do I want to do that? And the more you do that exercise, the more you're going to be able to craft your message. And then I will say, doing the work that's going to go in all the channels, that's secondary, actually, to this process that you need to go through in order to keep your brand, to be on brand, because you need to be on brand with yourself, not with what other people are doing. And the beauty of that is that that's going to keep you inspired. And the more inspired you are, the more passionate you're going to be about your work.
Well, I was going to say, what are the key takeaways? But I think you just gave them to us. So I'm going to just ask my final question, seeing how that was a part of it. So thank you for that. Because again, if we have a step-by-step process and we're new to this, I think exactly what you said is going to really help someone that have had these questions. That's one of the reasons we wanted to bring you on board, is because I get this all the time. I don't know how to market myself. I don't know how to build my brand. I need help. And so Cynthia, first of all, I do want to say, because I know Marty will end it once you answer this next question, but thank you for being a part of this and being such an inspiration to the NASM legacy, if you will, the brand, the colors, the way that it looks, and being so passionate about that. So we know the history, we kind of know where we are now. But if I had to ask the one final question, is what excites you most about selling, and everything that you just said that you to do to build your brand, what excites you about the future of it?
So many things. Well, I know there's some new products that are coming that I'm not able to speak about here right now, but I am very excited about the work that we're doing behind the scenes towards that, and the incredible talented people who are part of building these new products. So that I'm very excited about. I think our community is going to be very excited about them. But as a brand, there's so much of the work that we're doing is influencing how important our personal trainers are in everyday lives. And I know there's work that needs to happen at the government level and state level, and a lot of the work that we do is advocating for our personal trainers and our coaches to be able to speak more broadly, and to be able to influence people on an everyday basis. And it's advocacy. A lot of the work that we do is not just creating new products, or we do a lot of work. There's a lot of important people out there who are doing very important work to help our community in general. And so that's very exciting to me, because I know how important it is, fitness and wellness, in our health and the health of our communities, our families, our friends. Very passionate about, but I'm very excited in terms of what it means for our community.
Excellent. Well, Cynthia, we can't thank you enough for all the great information you gave us, kind of the history into our brand, into what people can do to help improve their brand. So before we let you go, is there a place people can reach out if they want more information, or some of the opportunities potentially that you talked about?
So in terms of casting calls, we always send emails, encourage you to apply. I take a look at everybody who applies personally, and as I said, we end up building relationships and starting careers, and that's because you got certified with us. So I definitely encourage you to do that. I encourage you to fill out surveys and to be part of our listening panels that we have going on all the time. You can always reach out to me via LinkedIn. And I connect with a lot of people who have recently certified with us and they want to connect with me. I'm happy to do that. So always feel free to ask questions and connect with me and to follow and see what we're doing. We're pretty open, and I'm not just saying that. We are, because our community is very important to us. So you'll know for sure. You'll hear from us, and we want to hear your stories. We really, really do. There is a page that I love. It's called NASM in Action. That's led by Tyler McDonald, who's an incredible, talented person here at NASM, and he does a lot of our brand work. And in that page, I love in particular because those are stories from NASM trainers and coaches all around the world. And you can also submit your own story in there. So we want to hear it. We want to hear you. And we're here to also highlight you.
Awesome. Excellent. We appreciate you, Cynthia, for everything you do to just keep growing the brand. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's really an honor to be here and a dream of mine. So I really appreciate you. Hopefully I answered all your questions. But if you have anything else, please feel free to.
Thank you so much, Cynthia.
Sounds amazing. Thanks, lady. We'll see you soon.
That was great. Learned a lot. And hopefully all of our followers now know to pay attention because they could become a part of the brand.
Yes, 100%. And I think it's always good when we can bring someone from NASM that's been with the company for a long time, that understands kind of what they kind of give us an inside look of what's going on in the background, especially when it comes to the website and everything else. But Marty, as always, thanks for some of the questions. And again, we really do appreciate Cynthia coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll pop up our contact information here. Wendy's will pop up first. Very easy to find us. You can see there, Wendy.Batts13 for Instagram. Email wendy.batts@nasm.org. Mine's coming right here. dr.martymiller72 for Instagram. And then marty.miller@nasm.org for my email. Let us know what you guys want to hear from us. Thank you for checking out this episode. Again, we hope to see you on the next episode. Be sure to subscribe, give us that 5-star review, and we'll see you next time on the Master Instructor Roundtable.